We were talking yesterday about the Diggs trade, thinking about what Buffalo would be doing at 28 and hoping that they had some sort of plan other than the triple speak that we heard from the GM yesterday during his press conference. What do you think? If I am a player agent, I'm a little surprised, and certainly that the team was willing to do it on their side too, the restructure of Diggs' contract. And it wasn't a restructure. It was an early grant of unrestricted free agency. That's how I read this to be. And that is a gift in some cases and a curse in others to do to a player. What did you view that for Stefon?
I've known Stefon since he came into the NFL. His first team was the Vikings. I live up here in Minneapolis, so I've talked to him a number of times. You know, with Stefon, he works harder than anybody on the practice field. He's a tone setter, all those things. Stefon also likes the drama. He likes a little bit of drama sometimes, and that's why every offseason you get cryptic tweets and, other things. If you're trading him from Buffalo to Houston, and these are conversations that went all the way back to the combine, and everybody knew Diggs was available, you might want to make the guy feel good and limit that drama right out of the gate. So what do? You give him a little bit of extra cash in 2024. You then say, all right, we're going to lop off those additional years of your deal. That does two things. One, yes, it may make the guy a little bit happier about going to a different team with a bunch of people that he doesn't know. But two, it also accelerates your possibility of a compensatory pick if and when Diggs leaves in March of 2025. In other words, if you left those future years on the deal, then after the season, Diggs is either wanting a new contract or if things don't go well, you're probably releasing him because he's beyond the guaranteed money. Well, when you release a guy, you don't get a compensatory pick. The Texans have now set themselves up in a situation where your best case scenario is Stefon Diggs goes out there, plays like the Diggs that we've seen for years, becomes a cornerstone of your franchise, and you happily give him close to top dollar, which is, somewhere in that $25 million a year range, probably for a receiver at this stage in his career. If it doesn't go well, he walks in free agency. The Texans have gone buck wild with trades and free agency this year. Maybe next year they're anticipating, okay, we're probably going to have more free agent losses. That's going to work in our favor in the compensatory pick formula. So you end up giving a 2 right now to get Diggs. And if depending on how things work out, again, if he leaves, you could very well be getting back a 3 in 2026, and you're not giving up ultimately that much.
Do you think that Diggs and what his future is in Houston is dependent solely on team success, or is it a fit where there's some thought, and you know him way better than most, the fit in Buffalo? Was there ever a question about it? Is that something that you're looking for when you're evaluating what he would want during or after next season? Fit or team success?
Well, he wants the ball. Start there with Stefon Diggs. I think that, fit is everything, but fit to him is just, I want to make plays for the team. And again, he works so hard in practice. Even last year when there was drama, I was out there with you guys in El Segundo when, on day one, there was the question, Diggs wasn't on the practice field, and McDermott said something, but kind of put his foot in his mouth in terms of I sent him home versus he went home. It just, the whole thing was messed. But the next day, Diggs got out there, and everybody involved told me he was going hard. He looked just like Diggs on the field. So it's a matter of just him being in a position where, he's a competitor. He wants to go out there and get the football. If that doesn't happen this year, or he's unhappy, now he's got the choice, and he can go ahead and, test the free agent market. Everything else I think kind of flows from there, but make no mistake, the Texans are making these moves they've made this offseason because they believe they've got a window to go and win right now. Nick Caserio, the GM, comes from New England where they're always conscientious of the comp pick formula. You go through stretches of spending, and then you go through stretches of, scaling it back. This is clearly a spend phase when you trade for Mixon, when you trade for Diggs, when you sign for Danielle Hunter. You're saying we can do this right now over the next 1 to 2 years. Part of the reason you might think that is because we got CJ Stroud on a rookie contract. So a cost-controlled quarterback, as opposed to 2 years from now, we're going to be sitting here, depending what happens with these other quarterbacks, and saying, is the number $60 million a year on CJ Stroud? Is it even higher than that? The salary cap appears to be exploding. When you've got a rookie quarterback on that deal, those first 3 or 4 years where he's cost controlled is your best opportunity, just from an economical perspective, to put a lot of other pieces in place around him and try to make your run. There's not a long history at this point, at least in what I would call the modern age over the last 10 years, where quarterback contracts are eating up even larger amounts of the salary cap. There's not a lot of history of those high paid quarterbacks winning championships. Patrick Mahomes has done it, but he did a deal that was very flexible from the team's perspective in terms of the cash flow, in terms of the length, the way that they could flip it over again and again to create additional cap space there. It allowed them to pack all these other guys in around them. There's other teams that have struggled once they've paid the quarterback. So Nick Caserio wisely, in my opinion, is going and saying, we can win this thing right now. We got to the playoffs last year with a super young team and a rookie quarterback. What can we do in year two? Well, rather than sitting back and just going, we're going to slowly draft and develop. I think this is the biggest thing, David, in the modern NFL. There's very few programs that are the old school Packers like Ron Wolf strategy of, and Ron Wolf, of course, signed Reggie White. I mean, he was not a stranger to work in the free agent market, but like that gradual, very patient build solely through young players. When you've got a window in the NFL, you attack it and you go for it. That's what we're seeing right now in Houston, and the rest of the AFC South has to be looking at what they're doing and saying we're in for a real interesting fall.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.